Nothing can stop them. The inevitable success of BTS's comeback. We know BTS, from my understanding right now, is we know BTS is this huge group, and most people, I think people who don't know BTS as we do, or as a fan in ARMY, they think BTS has reached its own peak of success. But the comeback, I think it's going to be a completely another story. What we know about their success is going to be almost twice the size when they come back. Because when I first started listening to them 8 months ago, some of the people, even the friends that I have, didn't know who they were. And it wasn't a mainstream thing. But nowadays, maybe I'm starting to notice a lot more when I go out in public. Like the country that I live in right now, I don't live in America, so I live in an Asian country, pretty close to South Korea. But in public places, normal BTS songs wasn't playing. But nowadays, I hear them quite a lot, especially with the recent Jungkook's album, Golden. I hear 7, 3D, oftentimes playing in pubs, restaurants. Imagine when they make a comeback, they're going to start performing in concerts, new albums going to be released, perhaps new solos. How famous it could be with what they know now and the strategies they know. And I think they are also starting to make a lot more English-based songs. That has a lot bigger outreach compared to the normal songs. And I can definitely say V has another opportunity. The next person that is gonna blow up, like worldwide famous like Jungkook, is gonna be V. V has that star quality, and his music can be also extremely catchy.
In 2023, it was announced that all the members of BTS signed a new contract with their label Big Hit Music starting in 2025. This confirms the reunion after their military service. But I don't think a lot of people, fans or not, are truly grasping the idea of how big of a cultural phenomenon this comeback is going to be. I'm sensing that fans in the industry are expecting or predicting BTS to go back to their 2020-2021 popularity at best. Many talk about this comeback as a regular comeback, in the K-pop sense of the word. But that ignores a lot of context. So I would love to start a conversation based on a very realistic analysis of this new context. And I wanted to do this video now because we're less than a year away from seeing all the members as a group again. But at the same time, we don't have a lot of hints of what their comeback project and promotions are going to be like. So it's easier for us to recognize what it's definitely going to happen and not get excited.
Also, a big factor is gonna be whether they're going to continue with Big Hit, but with the three big, the music industry, the JYPs, is there going to be a certain kind of a deal where BTS's success is going to directly profit the three big labels in Korea or American labels, right? If they're going to truly directly have a profit, like BTS's current success, it doesn't directly connect with the big three labels, the music industry in Korea and in America. If there's some sort of a deal that is made with the Big Hit, well, that could be a huge opportunity of how famous they could be. Right? They're already the most worldwide famous group, but added with the support of American music industry and Korean music industry, well, how big can they get? That is a question that is left to most people's imagination. I can't even imagine how big it could be.
I can hope for a lot of extraordinary things as a fan, but for this conversation, I believe it's important to get the same conclusions even non-fans can come to, because as fans, we may always be looking for the best scenario. However, you'll see that by analyzing the most simple aspects of BTS's popularity, we may still see a comeback that it's too big to even process right now. We just need to look at previous numbers, the new image their solo careers has given them, and the overall culture.
Also, how many future collaboration could happen? I mean, Hobby with J. Cole, that opened another industry. And I also saw that NLE Choppa made a song with Jimin, and they're starting to make music with like American artists, huge pop artists, even rappers. Well, that's going to introduce them to a whole new another set of audience that wasn't exposed to BTS music.
Comebacks. I don't mean comeback in the K-pop sense. I mean comeback as it is understood in the Western music industry, which is the first release after a hiatus period. BTS is on a group hiatus because of their military service, so they are going to have their first comeback.
Also, what I think interesting thing is, well, they've been performing and together as a group, going on, making music, concerts for so many years. The military might have been a break are also a separation that wasn't necessary, but that might be a good thing in the future. When they come back, they will be starving for more work. Their passion is gonna be reignited. Oftentimes, even though you're doing the love that you work, like the work that you love, it's your passion. If you're doing it for quite a few years without any break, you are gonna get burnt out. So with the military, afterwards, when they come back, I think they're gonna put in a lot more music out, a lot more concerts, and they're going to be a lot more hungrier too. They're going to miss performing on stages. Remember when they talk about, like, I was just watching the Burn the Stage documentary, when they get on stage, they feel the most alive. And I can see with the live audience reactions, how amazing it must feel when you're sitting on stage like this in front of thousands of people. Now they haven't been performing in front of the stage for quite a long time, and they're going to be craving for a lot more concerts, a lot more music. So there's going to be that reignited passion and fire when they come back, and it is gonna be exciting. That's all I can say.
There is a difference between popularity and cultural impact. For the past years, BTS has been both popular and culturally impactful, but not in the exact ways every fan may recognize. For example, the name of a musical artist can be culturally impactful, but they may have music or one song that is popular at best. The same way, a song can be culturally impactful, but the name of the artist who sings the song may only be...
There's a lot of one-hit wonders who became famous for a certain song. Like Psy, I'm pretty sure he's a really, really popular artist in Korea. But for most people in America or living all around the world, we just know Gangnam Style, right?
Considered popular during a certain period of time or for a certain audience. With this in mind, let's recognize BTS's popularity and cultural impact. BTS's most mainstream global releases are Dynamite, Butter, and My Universe. But let's focus only on Dynamite and Butter, because My Universe is a collaboration. Let's not sugarcoat this and make this very realistic. The general
that is the reason why I love Boracity's Boracity magazine the most. Is she makes really, really smart, logical, realistic information videos.
3 things about BTS: their name, their fans, and their 2 biggest hits. The general public knows the existence of BTS as a group. The general public knows BTS has a big fandom, and the general public knows the songs Dynamite and Butter. Some do know these songs are BTS's songs, and others simply recognize these songs and know the existence of BTS, but don't necessarily correlate them. But at the end of the day, BTS as a name is well known, and Dynamite and Butter as songs are well known. These songs were on commercials, on the radio, on TV shows, on movies, stayed on the #1 position on the charts for weeks, and received Grammy nominations. After this, BTS released their See You Later project for fans, and then they started their solo era. The solo era has not only maintained BTS's name out there, but it has also improved BTS's image. This improved image is important because now not only their name and a couple of songs are going to be culturally impactful. Now, there is an actual possibility for the general public to recognize BTS as a strong, culturally impactful musical act, not just a recognizable name with a couple of songs that not everyone can correlate. In my opinion, the solo projects have made BTS's upcoming comeback not only undeniably popular, but also, I predict, a bigger cultural impact than BTS quote-unquote at their peak. I mean this in terms of both numbers and reception.
Now, let's say with the solo songs, the general ARMY fans have listened to Jimin, RM, Jungkook, V, everybody's single songs, Hobby's single songs, the single debut albums. But there's probably a small group of people who listen to Jungkook just for Jungkook. They probably find out about Jungkook collaborating with Jack Harlow or making Seven. He probably hit a certain kind of category that wasn't hit BTS as a group together. Right? There's still a lot of some popularity section of world's population who don't know who BTS is, but they might listen to the solo songs. And when they come back, they know Jungkook as a solo artist, but when they realize, oh, he was part of a group, and they're going to start listening to BTS as a whole, and they're going to get into the BTS universe. And for me, what makes BTS really, really mass appealing as a group, as a personality, is just like she was saying, there's a certain group of people that have one or two songs, or a certain group of artists that have only a few songs that made them culturally impactful just because of that one song. But the American artists, they don't have a category of TV shows, personality interviews, like Bon Voyage or In the Soup. They don't have that whole library of collections to make the BTS group, the personalities, known. Like, you know what I'm saying? So let's say there's a group of artists that got famous for one song, and people got interested in them, and they started listening to more of their music. But they barely have few interviews on reality shows. They don't have content like BTS Run. Maybe they have one or two like Jimmy Fallon, a few other interviews like that, but that's about it. But BTS has so many collection in the library to know them as a personality. And once people start listening to BTS, new kind of wave of people start listening to BTS's solo songs, the group songs, they're gonna get deeply entrailed with the library of collections and reality shows really fast and strong. Because we already have this collection.
And with minimal promotions, during this hiatus, the BTS members have been able to still get #1 songs. They've gotten truly viral TikTok songs. They've gotten more positive reviews than ever. And they've also been taken more seriously by the public. Sure, the cultural impact the solo projects have are not the exact same as with Dynamite and Butter, but the few details that these two songs were missing, the solo projects complemented them. People said...
You know what the solo songs also did? Again, my friends, they don't listen to BTS that much. And still, just like how I was, there's a stereotype to see BTS as a feminine, girly group that men wouldn't listen. That's just the stereotype I had before I started this YouTube channel. And I still have friends who think that way. But when I made them listen V's solo songs, when I made them listen to V's live session in NPR, I will be sitting with my friends in a pub or in their place. I will just randomly play on YouTube V's live session. I don't even tell them that this is BTS. They don't know who V is. Or I'll just play Jungkook's 7. I'll play 3D. Or I'll play RM's new album. I made some of my friends listen to RM's new album. I didn't even tell them it was a group of the leader of BTS. But they liked the solo songs. When I played the live session in my place, when my friends came in, they loved the song. And they asked me, like, who is this artist? And I told them, this is V. He's the guy from BTS. And their head was like, oh, BTS makes music like this? They didn't know. Their stereotype, they were thinking BTS was this feminine group, the music that I wouldn't like. But when I made them actually listen to the solo songs, they were like, oh, BTS makes music like this? This is actually good.
Will only get #1 songs as a group because of their boy band fandom, but their solo projects proved this wrong. People said Dynamite and Butter were commercial mainstream, but they couldn't get a real TikTok hit. But Jungkook's solo project became a true TikTok hit.
Yeah.
People doubted that a BTS Korean album could ever be critically acclaimed. But RM's solo Korean album is now basically in every album of the year list. People said that only BTS fans listen to
RM's
BTS
album.
music. But thanks to J-Hope's collaborations and RM's album of the year list appearances, now the most critical music fans are actually approving BTS projects. All of these new aspects make BTS a more quote-unquote serious musical act, not just an impactful name with an impactful fandom and impactful couple of songs.
Added on that stereotype, people who think, that Dynamite and Butter, those type of songs are just general poppy songs trying to be catchy. That is the stereotypical view of people who don't know BTS. Let's be realistic here. When people who don't know BTS, they think about BTS, oh, why is BTS famous? When I ask them this question, their answer is, oh, they're this handsome group that makes really catchy music, and they have all these girls fawning over them. That's why they're this kind of famous. That is the answer people usually give. But now, with the recent solo songs, listening to RM's new album and Jungkook's new Golden album, that idea is shattered. That they're actually getting critical, good music ratings as a solo artist. And then once they start listening to solo artists, they're gonna go back and listen to some of the popular songs of BTS, and they're gonna start to appreciate the music that was made by the group.
No, an impactful musical act. impactful musical artists. Even the point about having a true TikTok hit makes the public unable to even say, how is this song so big if I never listened to it? Now the cultural relevance can be inescapable. And yes, they did all of
this. This is one of my favorite live sessions. I play this quite a lot. Like when I'm hanging out with friends, random people, I'll let them listen to it. And gosh, I'm so excited for the comeback. Is it just me? When I'm hearing her talk about BTS's comeback, I'm getting so excited. The new music, new concerts, new TV shows.
Give
it up for Jimin, Jungkook, Suga as August D.
If you think that the promotions for Jungkook's Golden were a lot, you have not really paid attention to the real promotion schedules by Western artists. We don't know what style of promotions BTS will have for this comeback. My personal guess and hope is that they will go back to the Boy With Love style of promotions, because they've mentioned that these specific promotion activities were part of their dream come true promotion schedule.
Wow, so remember before in the documentaries BTS Burn the Stage and Bangtan Rise, I saw, they won Billboard, they got nominated for a Grammy, and they were able to get certain kind of promotion in the Western culture, but they couldn't break into the Western culture as a whole. And the reasons of, the music labels are trying to keep BTS down. There's so many other reasons that we've watched together on this boracity magazine channel, why the music labels are trying to keep BTS down. But with the solo songs, I think they were able to reach a certain kind of fame that BTS as a group as a whole couldn't reach a few years ago. And now that is a huge stepping stone for them to become even bigger in the Western culture as a group when they come back.
난 작은 시 약간 그 미국 할 때 SNL 그때가 재밌었어. 네, 재밌었어. 투어도 하고 스타디움 투어하고 가장 꿈에 근접한 활동이었지.
The Boy With Love promotion schedule was stronger than Golden's promotions, but calmer than the Dynamite and Butter promotions. However, even if they go extremely minimal, like Jimin for example, who had one single interview in an American TV show, I'm still sure BTS's next comeback will have better reception and numbers. I mean, I love Yet to Come as much as the next ARMY, but if a non-mainstream, not promoted Korean song like Yet to Come is getting a Grammy nomination during hiatus, I can most certainly predict that BTS as a group is at least in the minds of the industry, and a real comeback will be successful no matter what. This is another important aspect. We need to pay attention at how pop culture treats big comebacks like this.
And that comeback, Robin, could be massive.
They do have a faithful following.
I remember that in 2022, when the news of BTS's military service and hiatus broke, some of the general public and even the media associated this moment with Elvis Presley's military service and hiatus.
You really do have to go back to Elvis Presley to think of a pop music act of this magnitude putting on the brakes and entering the military at the absolute peak of their popularity.
I think this is also gonna get certain respect for a lot of people. They were able to put their career in hold, even though they're the biggest K-pop group in the world, and they were able to go to military, and that's respectful. That's a decision a lot of people can respect, and that's also gonna add another level of respect to BTS for the people that don't know, or people might have heard about BTS just because of this. Just because this was such a huge news, they would hear this worldwide famous pop star group stop their career in order to go to military. They might hear about BTS just because of this news, and then they're gonna start listening to their music, and then when they come back, it's gonna get even bigger.
Then how Elvis's hiatus, military service, and comeback improved his image, expanded his appeal to a broader audience, and made him even more popular. And if BTS is saying the truth about coming back as a group, they can have the attention of the news of a celebrity coming back after going to the army, just like Elvis Presley. This was back when there was no 2025 contract, so the media was still very unsure if they were actually coming back. However, I don't think the metrics of Elvis Presley's hiatus and comeback are the same as BTS's hiatus and comeback. The music industry is vastly different now than what it was in the 1960s, and I don't believe BTS's upcoming album can be compared to Elvis Presley's Elvis is Back comeback album. However, the fact that this association was even mentioned by the Western general public as soon as the news of BTS's military service and hiatus broke shows that comebacks are still a big deal in pop culture today. I think it's more appropriate to look at an example from this century and from a group, because the dynamics of a group and a soloist are different. The Jonas Brothers were not as big as BTS as a global cultural phenomenon. The kids who grew up during their Disney Channel era can definitely recognize some of their most popular songs, but the group couldn't really establish a mainstream song that your parents or non-Disney kids could recognize from the radio in any part of the world, like Dynamite, Butter, and songs from other mainstream groups like One Direction. Don't get me wrong, the Jonas Brothers had a lot of fans, but not enough to have worldwide stadium tours like BTS. Despite this, when the Jonas Brothers had their big comeback with the song Sucker in 2019, for the first time ever, they got a Hot 100 #1 and one of their songs finally received a Grammy nomination. Even people who didn't listen to the Jonas Brothers knew that the Jonas Brothers were having a comeback. This is because comebacks are exciting for the music industry. Comebacks after a period of hiatus are a huge topic of interest in.
What? There's a saying like Americans love a comeback story, and because when they come back from military, the comeback is going to be huge news in the media. Just by that news, they're making a comeback, they're going to get a huge appeal.
Pop culture. Even if the comeback song is not revolutionary or unique, the simple fact of it being a comeback song makes it newsworthy. Just like the news of a hiatus, the media will talk about the news of a comeback. So promotions or not, there will be articles, there will be reviews, and there will be numbers. If the comeback of the Jonas Brothers had such a big impact, imagine what BTS's comeback can achieve.
And then with the solo songs, it's a huge, like a good ground, like stepping stone. You know, the solo songs has become a stage. The stage has already been prepared, and with the comeback news, it's gonna be a dynamite.
BTS already has #1 songs in English and Korean. BTS already received multiple Grammy nominations while promoting and during hiatus. In other words, Sucker gave the Jonas Brothers all the numbers, visibility, and success a comeback era can offer. But BTS already went through their Sucker era in terms of success back in 2020, so the benefits of a comeback era will be bigger for BTS than for the Jonas Brothers. This is what I mean by the inescapable success of BTS's comeback. At the end of the day, promotions or not, and whether the project is in Korean or English, the big question is still, what exactly are they going to release? What style of music will they go with next? I remember that the conversations when BTS were first leaving for the military were focused on a shift on their music. This shift was expected to be more mature and maybe have less or no dancing at all. Then Bang PD said that the BTS members were planning to release a special project for the 10th year anniversary of the most beautiful moment in life. Whether they sign again with HYBE or whether they sign with other label.
We said to each other, let's make sure we put out a 10-year anniversary album and a project. If they hadn't signed with us, they still would have released it, just not with us. They would have done it with somebody else. This is the first time that I am mentioning in public that there is going to be a 10-year anniversary in a project.
Bang PD also mentioned that BTS...
What kind of a project? Maybe a documentary? A huge documentary for the 10-year anniversary? Oh my gosh, that would be so exciting.
wanted their absence as a group in the music industry to be a turning point in their careers.
2018년 초반부터였고 상당히 긴 시간을 준비해왔고 최근에도 그것에 대한 논의를 하고 있기 때문에 커리어의 전환점으로 삼자라는 얘기는 굉장히 오래전부터 준비가 되어 있습니다. 그다음에 영원히 지금의 BTS로 남아있을 수 없고 아티스트의 성장에 따라서 음악적인 변화, 여러 가지 변화들이 필요한데
Until recently, the BTS members were still mentioning that this project is a priority for them.
저희끼리 얘기했던 것 중에 어쨌든 2025년 대부분의 멤버들일 거고 그다음에 이제 화양연화라는 저희의 기념비적인 어떤 회사가 10주년이 되는 해기 때문에 화양연화가 10주년이 돌아오니까 그때는 무언가를 할 수 있을 것 같지도 않을까 뭐 이런 생각을 했었잖아요. 그것들을 좀 잘 지키려고 노력하지 않을까.
These are strong signs that the predictions of a lot of armies at the beginning of the hiatus were true. A project like The Most Beautiful Moment in Life may be more serious in terms of production and songwriting. It may have mostly R&B and alternative songs, and it may also be in Korean only. However, during the hiatus/solo era, a lot of things have changed. More than change, I think they have progressed. To start, many of the BTS members who fans may think were not comfortable singing in English chose to release solo songs and albums in English. And I truly love Dynamite and Butter, but the recent English projects are much more stronger. In other words, growing artistically does not necessarily mean going alternative and non-mainstream and serious, which is what I saw a lot of armies predict at the very beginning of the hiatus. The same applies to the choreography aspect. There were some armies making comments about BTS not dancing anymore because they cannot do choreographies forever, and maybe they are tired of it. But during the hiatus/solo era, we saw all the members dance, including members who have this stereotype that they are not as comfortable dancing. Suga had a choreography for his lead single. Jin danced on stage one day after his military discharge. RM danced for a collaboration. He also kind of danced around for one of his music videos. And most importantly, he continued practicing.
You know, I always thought, because I'm still a new army, I've seen a lot of the people who's been an army for long periods of time. When I mentioned the fact that if they start releasing a lot of English-focused songs, they will become a lot more famous in general. I still think that's true. But when I say that, I do see negative comments saying, you know, they don't have to make English-based songs, they can make Korean songs and still be famous. But you have to agree that songs, from the example of RM's recent album, Jungkook's recent album, all those songs, because it was heavily English-focused, those songs become even more popular. And when BTS makes a comeback, if they start to make more songs that could be culturally impactful in the Western culture, it has to be an English lyrics-based song. There can be some Korean involved, but it does have to be an English-based song. That's what I believe. But because BTS is BTS, I think they can add their own color, just like how they changed the hip-hop. Remember when they went back to LA and they learned the traditional hip-hop group, you know, how they should make the hip-hop song, learning from the traditional hip-hop artists. But then they added their own spin to it and they made it a BTS's hip-hop song. Like, BTS's hip-hop songs are different. They took from the traditional hip-hop culture and they took from the BTS culture, the Korean culture, and they mixed it together and they made their own music. And that's going to be the same thing with when they make a comeback. They're going to make a popular song that's going to be mainstream in the Western media with English lyrics, but with maybe add a little bit of Korean lyrics. And it's going to be BTS's own thing. It's going to be their own type of music with dancing, with choreography, with, you know, it's just going to have its own color.
So did V. He is still dancing while in the military. My point is that just because Bang PZ said that the BTS members wanted this hiatus to create a shift in their careers and maybe be taken more seriously, it doesn't mean that they will fully stop all the aspects that makes them a fun mainstream group. They can still do music in English with choreographies and be taken a lot more seriously. They can also release a calmer album like The Most Beautiful Moment in Life and go mainstream with it. During this hiatus, and thanks to TikTok, songs in Korean, Japanese, and many other non-English languages have gone mainstream, so the language barrier is not as big of an obstacle anymore, at least not for the general public. Being taken seriously with a non-English project is another barrier that BTS has already started to break, and I think a comeback label can finish the job. At this point, the success and cultural impact of any type of comeback project from BTS is inescapable. Every hint BTS has given about their upcoming comeback includes some sort of promotion, starting with the fact that some members are going to the military 3 or 4 years earlier. I don't think this big of a sacrifice that no one in the industry has done before will come with mediocre promotions.
상당히 긴 시간을 준비해왔고 최근에도 그것에 대한 논의를 하고 있기 때문에.
However, on the other side of the argument, BTS has mentioned again and again that the first thing they want to do is a 10th year anniversary project for the most beautiful moment in life. Who knows, maybe we'll get both a mainstream English project and a fandom-focused Korean project. At this point, we may even get a new type of mainstream Korean project. Whatever it is, everything suggests that it will be too big to even process right now. The word comeback will be attached to the project, and that is enough for it to be a headline and considered for awards. Just look at everything they've achieved with non-mainstream projects, with no promotions and during hiatus. Of course, there are certain achievements that I can hope for, but I'm not sure they will happen because certain parts of the industry are unpredictable. I'm not even going to talk about my
Grammys,
hopes
winning the
or what I
Grammys.
wish could happen. I'm talking about the inescapable. And at this point, the inescapable is
Cultural impact. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so excited. Less than a year, boys. Less than a year. Y'all quick.
We don't even know what the project is going to sound like. But I know for sure that it will achieve many of the dreams Chapter 1 BTS and ARMY did not even think could come true.
Oh my gosh. Less than 1 year. They make a comeback. Oh my god. 10 years anniversary. Hopefully there's gonna be a documentary. I mean, watching this video, it truly is inescapable. Their success, how big they're gonna get after the military. And just having a small idea of watching Boracity magazine videos, well, they've been through worse. BTS and the ARMY as a whole, we came out of that. All the industries, the Korean music industry, the American music industry, tried to keep BTS down, and they couldn't. So during the worst times, when everybody was trying to squash down BTS, with the music labels, with the music industry, the Korean media, the American music industry, even after all that, BTS usually came at number 1. And now with the comeback, and perhaps with the support of the general public in Korea and the media, we don't know, but if that comes along, how big do you think they're gonna get? They're gonna make fucking history, boys. History. Getting so excited. This was a good video. I love our videos, man. It's quite logical. It's realistic. Really good information.